Welcome everybody to another episode of the Games Talk Live podcast. I apologize for being a few minutes late. There's a real good reason for that, and my apologies. But stupidly, I don't care to air this because I did something that was really dumb. Shout out to you guys in the chat, by the way. I see you, Hargeek, Mad, Boba Fett Gaming. It's Timmy, Toolman, bunch of you in there. Thank you for being here. But I was sitting there and I was getting ready for the show, and I always take a lot of notes for the show. I like to have some bullet points ready for each topic. And what I usually do every week, because I'm getting older, I highlight the entire notes and I make it a little bit bigger for me to read. Well, I highlighted those notes and deleted them.
Ugh,
deleted those freaking notes, and I can't get them back. They're gone. So today, it's
going to be a shit show. It's just going to be one of those shows, Griggity.
Oh, man.
Anyways.
We'll make it work.
I have somebody here who I've been watching for quite some time. You know, he dabbles in the console war and stuff and things, but,
definitely.
You know, he's around my age, you know, so this is truly the geriatric hour, okay?
Absolutely.
You know, for us, like, this is already getting close to dinner, then we're in bed by 5 p.m. and, you know, hey, it's a whole thing. But yeah. I'm glad to have this guy here, Mr. Dirt Griggity. How are you, brother? Welcome. And I see it still says cold here. Why? See, I was so messed up today. Not anymore. We fixed that.
Great. All right, there we go.
You're here.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me, Fonz. I appreciate it, man. I can't believe I'm here, man. You know, I watch it all the time, and I love the format. It's great stuff, man, and it's a pleasure to actually be on here, man. I appreciate it.
No, I'm happy to have you here. You're primarily Xbox guy, right? You play your Xbox. You have a PlayStation 5 as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're a multi-console gamer.
Yeah.
What about the Nintendo Switch? How you feel about that?
Not a fan of Nintendo, no.
Yeah. I kind of grew out of it as well. It's probably the same way for you, right?
Absolutely. I just kind of grew out of it. Just have no interest at all of
Speaking of which,
Nintendo games. Yeah.
Give us a brief history of your basically your gaming history, your background. Where you started. Baby Grig, where did he start?
Yeah, I started my first console was Atari 2600 actually. I started playing games at a young age, man. I fell in love with the Atari. Then I was a Sega guy as a kid. Everybody in my neighborhood had the NES. My father asked me, "Do I want one?" I said, "No, I want a Sega Master System." So got a Sega Master System, Genesis, and I eventually got a Super Nintendo because it was dope. Then got a PlayStation, love the PS1, love the PS2. But then a friend of mine, he said, "Yo, Dirt, man, you got to play this Xbox." I said, "Who cares about Xbox? I don't want to play a Microsoft console. Who cares about that?" He's like, "Yo, man, we're playing this game called Halo, and it's really fun, and blah, blah, blah." So eventually I said, "Okay, let me go check it out." Went to his house, and it was me, him, and two of his cousins. We were just playing the 4-player split screen. Had a ball. And I said, that console's pretty cool. So eventually I was able to get myself an original Xbox, and that was when I became an Xbox fan, right? A huge Xbox fan, and the 360 just enhanced my love for Xbox. And I don't hate the PlayStation at all. I love the PlayStation brand. I love their games. I just prefer Xbox. And
well, let me ask you something about the original Xbox. What was it about that console that really made you a big fan of the brand?
To be absolutely honest, like Halo was a big part, but it wasn't the main part. What it was
that was huge for me.
With it, yeah. Some of the things you can do. It might seem basic now, but I was so impressed with being able to put a music CD in it and rip it to the hard drive. Right,
that was cool. That
was cool to me, right? Like especially in sports games like NBA 2K5, NBA 2K5, you can actually integrate the music into the game. And it was just amazing. But then with Xbox Live, when I actually got a chance to play Xbox Live, I was blown away. I couldn't believe I can talk to somebody that was in another side of the country and talking trash, and it just blew me away. So it was more of the features and some of the things the console could do that really impressed me, and as well as the games also. So yeah, that was really it though.
Yeah, those things really interested me too, especially when you look at. I don't know if you had a Dreamcast. You said, right? Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Dreamcast is my favorite all-time console. But
I love the
it's
Dreamcast.
and that's because it was so ahead of its time, and it did a lot of the things that the Xbox did. But the Xbox took what it did and kind of expanded on it.
Right.
The music integration was one of those things that they did that the Dreamcast couldn't do. But the Dreamcast did have, like the integration for internet and all that. And it was from Microsoft, matter of fact, that did that for Sega.
No.
Because on the back of the Dreamcast, it said powered by Windows, I believe, or Microsoft.
The Windows CE or something
Windows
like that.
CE.
It was on the front of the console,
yeah.
like by the controller ports. I actually played a game online of NBA 2K1 or one of those games, or 2K2. It was really laggy.
Bro, stop motion animation. That was just, it was bad.
Yeah.
It was pretty bad. But I did it too because it was something interesting. Also, Phantasy Star Online did the same thing on that console.
Awesome
the OG Xbox is an awesome console. So after you got into that, did you ever get into PC gaming at all? Were you ever?
Never got into it. Still to this day, I'm not really interested. Maybe eventually I will get into it, but as of right now, I'm just more of a console guy.
Maybe if consoles go away,
maybe if console goes away, I'm a gamer, so I will figure out a way. But I'm not into the troubleshooting stuff. I just want my stuff, to work.
Yeah. Me and Colt like to call it Tinker Master Race because you are going to tinker a lot with your settings and with everything else. Right. That's just the way it is. I mean, a lot of times you have problems with drivers or whatnot, and you have to deal with it. And I mean, I hear it's not so much as a big deal anymore as it used to be, but back in the day, it was a pain in the ass. Like, you would run into issues all the time. Back when I PC gamed, back when, dinosaurs were still around and all that. I mean, I gamed back in the days of vanilla WoW, World of Warcraft, when that first dropped. That's where I was PC gaming. But yeah, I haven't PC gamed in some years now. And now I own a Mac. Yes, just gaming podcast. I see you out there. You're going to talk about my Mac ownership, but yeah, it's strictly just for videos and streaming, nothing else. It's not for any kind of gameplay because we all know Mac sucks when it comes to games. Anyways, even though they did own the Halo IP at first, Bungie was making that for Mac originally, and originally it was a piece of crap. So yeah, just further goes to show that it's crap for games. Anyways, Greg, we do something here on my show every week. I like to play a game. I'm sure you've seen it, trivia. Yeah. It's a game I like to call 5 Questions. And you know what? I was about to ask you if you wanted to play, but you don't get a choice, sir. Nobody gets a choice. You have to play. No problem.
I'm ready.
All right, let's play 5 Questions.
5 Questions.
All right. So this is going to be 4 trivia questions and 1 subjective question. Let's see if I don't screw this up and erase all my questions. So, no, I did not. They're here. They're written down, so I will not lose these. So, first, I have to play my intense music there for you. That's to get you going and get you nervous. I'm nervous just reading these. Today I have no show notes, so I'm very nervous today. I don't know what I'm going to be talking about. This sucks. Anyways, I'm on the hot seat today. But Greg, here's your first of 5 questions. How many ghosts chase Pac-Man in the original game?
4.
Correct, sir. Too easy.
Absolutely.
Too easy for an old school
gamer. That's an easy
gamer.
one right there, Fonz. Yeah.
All right. Can you name the first game in the Legacy of Kain series? The very first one.
I believe that one was Soul Reaver. Was that one Soul Reaver?
No, sir. It was Blood Omen. Blood Omen.
Soul Reaver was a sequel, wasn't it?
Soul Reaver was the third, I believe.
The third one, my fault. Damn.
Anyways, moving on. Can you name one of the two boxers who are on the cover of Fight Night Round 4? One of the 2 legendary boxers on the cover of Fight Night Round 4. That would be the last Fight Night.
Muhammad Ali.
Oh, right
was
there.
one of
You
them.
named one of them. The other one is Mike Tyson. So
Mike
you
Tyson,
only
yeah.
needed to name one.
Yeah.
Man, you're doing good. You're not doing bad at all. Two questions right so far. So here's your fourth. What platform was the very first Spider-Man video game released on? The very first Spider-Man game. What platform?
I do remember it had a version on Atari 2600, or was it Atari 2600? Damn, I'm thinking Atari 2600. I'm gonna roll with that one.
Correct. It was the
there we
Atari
go.
2600 in
There we go.
1982.
There
3 out
we
of 4
go.
ain't bad. It's really good. And here's your fifth question. This is an easy. Give me your favorite game of all time. We can turn the music off for that.
Okay. I'm going to say, because it was just like at the time the best game I've ever played.
You are now one of us.
I'm going to say Sonic 2. I love that game so much. And it was just like one of my favorite games as a kid. And of course there's better games technically, but from an emotional standpoint, Sonic 2.
He's going with the nostalgic feeling here with Sonic 2. You know what? I'll accept that. I'll accept that answer. Sonic was a great franchise back in the day for me as a kid as well. I loved that series back then too. Let's go back to the page. Okay. So now we're going to discuss, oh man, I'm all over the place. All right, let's get into this. Why don't we get into, it just happened, Ubisoft Forward 2022. Well, if you missed it, folks, you didn't miss much, in my opinion anyway. The show wasn't very good, in my opinion. When you start with Mario Rabbids, you're going to lose me, okay? There was like a deep dive with Mario Rabbids, and it was like 20 minutes, and I'm just like sitting there going, really? This kind of looks like, last year's show in a way. I mean, because they showed a lot of the same games during this show, and it's a lot of rinse and repeat. What did you think about the show? I mean, overall.
I agree with you. I mean, I just think some of these shows, us as gamers, we get excited for it because, hey, it's a show, it's a show. But after you watch, it was like, was that really necessary? Like, did we really need that? I mean, they could have just did a YouTube video about certain, separate YouTube videos. It was underwhelming. I do love the Assassin's Creed franchise, so some of that news kind of excited me a little bit. But besides that, I'm not really into the Division anymore. I'm definitely not into Mario.
Rabbids,
Rabbids, I'm definitely not into that. Not into Rainbow Six. So it was kind of like, it was a show, just a show for the sake of being a show. That's what it seemed like to me. But I wasn't really into it.
And of course, the other day we had the Disney show or whatever it was. That thing was bad, real bad too. I think
that was worse than Ubisoft show.
Really? I'm interested in the Amy Hennig game. I'm interested in the Black Panther and the Captain America crossover type game where they're in the 40s, I believe, taking down Nazis, we got to see what that's all about. But we didn't see too much there. Mostly what we were seeing there and even here in the Ubisoft show is a lot of mobile games, this push to mobile. And I know mobile's getting bigger and bigger, but dang, it's just right now, it's really not for me. Mobile is not something that excites me in the gaming space. I know games are getting better there, but again, you mentioned it. We were looking at a lot of a lot of Assassin's Creed stuff. With that portion of the Ubisoft show, I didn't even think that could save it because by that time I was already bored to tears. But let's face it, I mean, it was a boring show. But I thought they showed too much. Like, it's like, we're working on this AC game. We're working on that AC game. Oh, no, we've got this AC game coming too. And, it's coming to mobile over here. I mean, to me, it was just overwhelming. I was sitting there going, okay, I can't keep up here. And, they mentioned one game, they were like, AC's going to China. I'm like, cool, I'm there. And then they say it's on mobile. And I'm like, I'm not there. Was it too much for you? It was.
Well, I do. agree a little bit because they announced all of these separate Assassin's Creed games at the
Yeah.
same time. So I do agree with that. Because even though I'm a fan of the series, clearly they're going in a different direction with the series.
Hmm.
Like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I don't know. They're not really going in that direction. I know the Mirage games, they said it's going back to more of the traditional Assassin's Creed style, not the open world, like more of the linear Assassin's Creed from the past, and that's fine. They say it's going to be a $50 game. It's not going to be too long. It's going to be like maybe 15 to 20 hours long, and that's definitely different from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which I got like 200 hours in. So it's interesting. I do agree with you a little bit. It's like too much. They did show too much at one time.
Yeah,
So
I'm showing the Mirage up on the screen now. Of course, only a CGI trailer, really. It's cinematic. There's no gameplay shown. And then the funny thing, Greg, is right after they said, here's the trailer and everything, they show us no gameplay. They're like, pre-order now. And I'm like,
Right.
huh? Wait, there's no gameplay. Like, what are we buying into here? Like, I know it's
name.
Assassin's Creed, right?
Yeah.
And I know Assassin's Creed, I mean, for me anyway, I know what I'm getting into. I have fun with all of them. I like the Assassin's Creed franchise. However, this one, they're going, supposedly anyway, they're going back to its roots. They're going back to stealth. They're going back to, supposedly they're getting rid of most of the RPG elements and stuff because they're trying to go back to their roots in this game. Fine, but let's see what they're doing with that, right? I mean,
Right.
that's one thing, and I thought it was funny during the show, and I'm watching this trailer here now, and I see, the main character running away and everything. People were going, "Oh, great, it's AC Aladdin," and I thought it was funny, but
That's kind of funny.
but no, it's going back to Baghdad and stuff. It's like this is the Middle Eastern AC Assassin's Creed. We're going back in. They've always done a great job with history and stuff. And that I think that people just wanted to see some gameplay to see how they're taking it back to the roots, just how they're doing that. Is it going to be exactly one-to-one like the old games, or are they going to implement some new features into it at least? Something like we didn't get to see anything, and it's like buy now. And
Right.
I'm not really fond of that, man. I don't like the way they do that at times.
Right.
They try to push us to buy things, and we don't even know what we're buying into. So,
Yeah. Like you said, it was just a name. It's Assassin's Creed, and they know fans of the series will be interested.
You're now one of us.
Yeah.
Just to see, hey, let's see Assassin's Creed. Hey,
Thank you very much, Tony, for subscribing. I appreciate that. I just heard my little voice on the screen saying, "You are now one of us," and I was just like, "Wow, okay.
that's your voice.
Cool." Yeah. I used my audio
Nice.
log voice for that.
I always use this voice. This is the audio logs, like in video games. Like,
Nice.
Griggity came by the show today, and we had a great time. Even though I lost my notes, we had a good time.
All right. So I want to read these super chats really quick before they go away here. Brigadier's Blue, he says, can't stay and watch live this weekend, but I'll be sure to catch the video on demand after the fact. Fonz and Griggity together should be a good time. Should be.
Nice.
Should be. It will be. I've got one here from Spinal 11. He says, what do you think of Jimbozo complaining about, we are going to get into this about the, 3-year extension on COD. This is going to be a big topic for sure. We're going to have fun with that one. Because that's going to be a good one. Even though I lost a lot of my bullet points that I wanted to bring up, I still have a lot of it in my head.
Right.
It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one. But so chat, I mean, what did you guys think of the show? Let us know. Like, did you think it was kind of overwhelming with all the AC games they announced? I mean, that one in China, the codename Jade. And then that was a mobile game. And then they were talking about something else in codename Infinity. And I'm like, what's that? Is that a launcher? Is that a game? It's supposed to tie the whole Assassin's Creed games together. And then they were like, okay, but we also have Code Red. And of course, this is the AC in Japan. And I'll show the little trailer teaser they showed on the screen. What did you think about this when you saw this?
I'm interested because I was a fan of Ghost of Tsushima.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, this definitely has my interest. But like you said, they didn't show much. So it's kind of like, yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah, that's all they
But
showed
we'll see what
right
happens.
there.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
And
So
it looks like they're going more. It looks kind of more ninja than
yeah,
Ghost of Tsushima was more samurai.
right, definitely.
So
I mean, like just from that little small teaser, it definitely looks more ninja-like than samurai.
and I hope they go that route. But again, if you go ninja, hopefully they go more stealthy with that. I guess you would have to. I mean, you can't be running around in the streets as a ninja. It looked kind of odd, man. Just like running everywhere as a ninja
with a bunch of leaves blowing everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to deal with that, but this is going to be more of the Odyssey-like Assassin's Creed, the RPG elements and all that. So this is what's kind of confusing to me. They have, and the Odyssey team is making this, by the way. So that's a good thing. The Odyssey team is awesome.
I love Odyssey. Yeah.
Odyssey is amazing. Probably the best Assassin's Creed out there, in my opinion. Besides 2. I really love 2. And that was the old school, but yeah, Odyssey was great. But my question is, and the confusion is, you have Mirage coming and you have this new RPG, elemented AC game coming out in Japan, feudal Japan. Is this going to be a thing now? Are they going to have both? Are they going to have a classic style AC game and an RPG game and stagger like every other year, or are we going to get just one and they're just giving like a sort of a freebie out to the people that wanted the old school type Assassin's Creed back? Because there was a big ask for that. People were asking for that. So what do you think about that? Do you think we'll get both, or do you think this is something, where it's just a one-off?
Well, first off, I would say that you're absolutely right. There was a lot of people asking for the old style because let's be honest, everybody's not into the huge open world RPG 100-hour plus game. Everybody's not into that style of game. Some people love the Assassin's Creed Unity, the Syndicate and like the old ones from the 360 PS3 generation. So I think they're compromising. They say, we have one for you guys that like the old style, but we're also making one that loved the new style, and they announced both of them simultaneously. So I do believe that's what they're doing. I just think they're really just like throwing it all out there. We're making a mobile game. We're making an RPG style. We're making an old school style. We're doing this. We have some DLC for Valhalla. They just put it all on the table. Here's everything. If you like this style, we'll have that style for you. So, I mean, I'm cool with that. Like, the more games for me, the better. I love both styles. I like the old style and I like the new style of the open world RPG. So, for me personally, I'm excited for all of it. But I do agree with you. I think they're just saying, man, we got you. Whatever style you like, we got you.
Yeah, I just hope that, if they do make this thing a thing going forward and they have both different styles, then I hope that they don't water any of them down, I hope they don't get worse in quality or whatnot. We know they're going to push a lot of microtransactions in both these games because that's what they do. That's Ubisoft. But I really hope that the quality is still there because, in my opinion, with Odyssey, with Valhalla even, I thought the quality was very good. I thought that they did those games really well. Of course, the Odyssey team didn't make the Valhalla game, and you can tell there was a lot of differences there, especially in the combat and stuff.
In the combat, that's what you can tell.
Yeah, and I liked both. I liked both.
I love both. Yeah.
But the Odyssey game, does get the nod for the better game for sure. But as far as the Mirage, again, I thought that they should have showed some gameplay. If it is coming out in 2023, they should have had some kind of little gameplay segment because people are interested in knowing what exactly it's going back to and what are they taking from it? What are they, omitting from the game that we had in Valhalla? Like, we want to know specifics, and I know it's kind of far away, but not really. I mean, 2023 is right around the corner if you really think about it. If it's coming out at the end of 2023, again, you should still be able to show something, or at least talk about what the changes are. But they didn't. And there was talking heads there that were saying a lot of nothing, man. They were sitting there talking about things that I didn't really even care about. You know, and it was just a weird show, man. I just didn't understand that whole thing. We're getting to the point where these shows, they don't need talking heads, man. They don't. And look, I'm okay with doing a deep dive with the developer, but after the show, you don't need to do this during shows, man. Like, gamers will show up, and especially if you don't even have hardcore gamers, if you have casuals showing up, they're not going to sit there and want to watch the developers talk about the game. They just want to see the game. And most of us just want to see that. I don't care if you're hardcore or casual. It's like you want to see game after game. You don't want to see game talking heads for 10, 20 minutes. Game talking heads for 20 minutes. Like, that's not what we're there for. We're not.
We want to see the games. And I agree with you. It's always like, I'm okay with listening to, so like you said, some talking heads or some developers breaking things down. But after the show. Yeah. After the show. Because during the show, we want to see what's coming. We want to see some gameplay, big announcements. That's what we want to see during the show. So I agree with you. Yeah. And if they're going to have to do like a breakdown, do it kind of how, like, you know, Arcane did Redfall like a few weeks ago. They had a 30-minute video breaking down the game, and I love that. But it was afterwards.
It kept going back to Colt's name underneath you, and I changed it. Damn it. I changed it back, but I'm like, what is it doing? Why is it doing this?
Wow.
Anyway, I apologize for that. Any of you watching and notice that, shame on you for not yelling it in the chat. Sometimes I'm like looking at Grig and I'm not even looking at the name and it pops up. But anyways, Boba Fett Gaming in the chat says he likes the RPG elements in Odyssey and Valhalla. I do too. But to me, it seems like those games, let's face it, they're not really Assassin's Creed games. That, you know, the traditional Assassin's Creed games are the ones like Mirage, going back to those stealth mechanics and all that stuff. It's almost like they wanted to make these games, but they just put the Assassin's Creed tag on it just to kind of make it popular right away. Like, boom, you know, it's part of this whole franchise and everything. To me, it's like they might as well just make it something else now. I mean, because if you're bringing back that old stealth style Assassin's Creed, then change it up for this new RPG element Assassin's Creed you're making now. If you're going to do both, like, change the name up a bit. Change it to something. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah. I think they're trying just to make it a brand. You know, this is Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
Stealth, like mobile. This is Assassin's Creed RPG. This is Assassin's Creed action. You know, it just seems like they're just making it a brand, man. You know, just trying to do what they can.
Thank you for the super chat, Mass Erect. I see you out there. He says, glad to see you got ray tracing on live stream.
Oh, man, they always call me ray tracing on my
ray
channel.
Ray tracing, huh? Oh, shoot.
What's up, Master Erect? How you doing, brother?
Yeah, he's a good dude. We also got Papa Boko 72. Great show, Fonz. Chat, hit that like button. Show some love for these fellas. Yeah, thank you very much, man. I was playing some Fortnite of all things with this gentleman yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, folks, I don't know, man. I hit my head. Something happened. I got into a game of Fortnite with friends, and I actually had some fun with it. And I was really kind of impressed that I did. I was like, you know, because I'm not big into. First of all, I'm not big into like multiplayer games anymore. Just I'm more of a single player gamer. But I used to love Destiny, played the hell out of it, but I played most of Destiny by myself.
Oh, did you? Oh, wow.
I played a lot of it by myself because I like playing that solo game experience. Of course, with raids and stuff, you had to play with people, but I used to get so mad when people would mess up, and like, it just irritates me. It's like, dude, all you had to do was stand on that platform and you freaking couldn't do that, you know, and just one of those things. I get upset about stuff like that. So, but no, I had fun in Fortnite. My very first two games I played, we won, and I was like, holy crap, that felt good. You know, it felt good to win. But when you start getting on the losing streak, it's like, okay, game over. It's time to leave. This game sucks. Yeah.
Right.
Smitty Smith, thank you very much. Celebrating your 14 months of membership. He says, what up, Jay Fonz and Dirt? Salute.
What's up, Smitty Smith?
Salute to you too, my friend. Yeah, he's been around for a while. Good friend of the
Homie,
show.
yep.
Yeah. So anyways, yes, I'm a fraud, guys. I'm a Fortnite fraud. Yeah. I don't know. I am. Well, anyways, the Ubisoft Forward show, we can both agree it wasn't very good.
It was.
The show the other day, I even forgot what it was called, that whole Disney thing. But it was
Disney
bad
Marvel
too.
Showcase, I think that was on
Disney Marvel Showcase. Yeah. It wasn't very good either. So kind of two shows that I wasn't really looking forward to anyway, but they came and went and they weren't very good. No, Roblox is not next, Patrick. Definitely not. I've seen my son play Roblox with friends, and I make fun of him every single time. It's so bad. But anyways, Roblox is huge, though. It's one of the biggest games out there.
Massive.
And there are, okay, so I'll tell you this. Tell you a little story, since my notes are gone, guys. So I've been getting into voice acting, okay? I've been taking classes. I already, I got my first gig, put my lines out there, sent them back to the project lead, accepted them. I'm waiting for the show to come out, and then, I'll announce that and everything. But so while I'm getting into this, I'm looking around, and there's auditions, because I audition for all kinds of stuff. And there was auditions there for Roblox, some type of Roblox cartoon, right? And apparently this cartoon is played on YouTube, but it gets millions of views. Like, it makes money. Like, this thing is huge. And I was like, a Roblox cartoon?
Wow.
But I never even heard of this, but there are a lot of cartoons on YouTube that make money. And I wasn't aware of this, but Roblox is huge, I guess, in that medium as well. So it's just weird. And I met a guy, I'm not sure if he's somebody from this community. I think he is, because I think we were in party chat, and he was telling me that a friend of his daughter is one of the main characters in that Roblox cartoon, and she makes bank off of it. And I was like, wow, that's crazy, being a little voice actor. Crazy. Wow. Anyways, but I thought I would share that Roblox is massive in so many different mediums.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ryan Landis. He said, that's awesome, Fonz. Yeah, I'm just trying to get into it, man. I'm very new. I'm very green to the scene on all that, but I'm trying to learn, and there's a lot to learn. Everybody thinks that, when you think of voice acting, I did too. I was thinking, oh, they just read lines. That's all they do.
Right.
They get in a booth, they read lines, or they, do it at home and read lines. But there's a lot that goes into it, man. It's not that easy, man. It's not. Anyways, moving on. Before we get into our next topic, that's right. I don't want to forget about this, Greg. I want to talk to you a bit. I missed it at the beginning of the show. We Bleed Green. It's your podcast.
Right. Absolutely.
Now tell me a bit about We Bleed Green. We saw it at the intro here when we started the show. When did you start that? What made you get into the whole podcast scene anyway? Let us know.
Oh, man. Well, to be honest, I was a huge fan of some other podcasts back in the day. Actually, you was on these podcasts a couple times. I remember hearing you on there. Huge fans, and some of those guys kind of flip flop. They were pro Xbox. They became anti Xbox, so to speak. So I was just starting the channel then. It was a very small channel, still a small channel, of course, but
Oh, you're growing, man. You're growing pretty good.
I'm growing slowly, but so it took me like 3 years to get 1,000 subs, and I was just doing my content. I wasn't really doing console war stuff that much back then. I would talk trash here and there, but just a pro Xbox YouTube channel, and I would still get hate from PlayStation guys, and so I said, you know what, fine, I'm just going to start talking trash. But I was on a podcast called Scram Punks. I was doing that podcast. So you remember that, right?
Yeah.
So one day, I just felt the Xbox was going to be better this current generation that we're in now. This is around 2018, no, maybe 2019. I said, I want to start a Xbox podcast, pro Xbox podcast, because to be honest, I'm still the guy that listens to podcasts, and I used to get upset, well, not upset, but irritated when it would be a supposed pro Xbox podcast and it would be anti Xbox guys on the panel. So I said, no, I would love to start a Xbox podcast or strictly Xbox guys. I know some people will call us a echo chamber, but that doesn't matter. We're just having fun. So I said, I'm going to start an Xbox podcast. And
I think you're pointing at me in RDX. Some of those
no,
years
no,
where
no,
I was
no,
just
no,
like,
no, no, no.
Xbox
No,
sucks right now, and I still
wouldn't
do that
consider
from
you
time to time.
anti-Xbox.
Yeah, but
I don't consider you anti-Xbox. I think you
okay.
kind of know what type of PM I'm talking about.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. I'm not anti-Xbox or anti-PlayStation. I'm just anti-corporate douchebaggery. Okay,
Yeah,
that's what I am.
yeah. So I'm not talking about you, but there's some other guys. So I said, yeah. So like the panel was like, Dirt, you should do it. They encouraged me to do it, but I kind of put it off until like one of my panel members, Devin, he said, yo, Dirt, the day Xbox announced that the Xbox Series X was going to be 12 teraflops, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said, Dirt, you should do that. You should start the Xbox podcast tonight. I said, tonight? He's like, yeah, you should do it, man. It's going to be 12 teraflops. It's going to be a beast. Let's just start it and talk trash. So I started it. Just in the middle of the day, I hit up some Xbox folks that I knew it was pro Xbox. I hit them up in the DMs. They were like, yeah, let's do it. And we did it that day. It was early February, I believe, right before COVID hit in 2020. Right before COVID was official in the States. And I've been doing it ever since, haven't missed an episode, brother. We're on 135 episodes.
Dang.
It's crazy. Just, just.
Are you still married? You still married?
Yeah, still married.
Okay.
But it's just kind of, I think in 2020, because of like, it was a few people told me this personally. They said when COVID hit, when we were in quarantine, I wanted to hear some pro Xbox stuff, and I found your podcast. So a lot of people found us during COVID.
Yeah.
And that's what some people want to hear, because a lot of people tell me, I don't want to hear those ponies on these podcasts. That's Xbox podcasts. And so I said, yo, man, I have this thing. I don't invite any PlayStation fans on my panel. It's strictly Xbox, and people like it, man. So we're slowly growing, and it's cool, brother.
Yeah, no. You have been growing. I've been watching your channel for some years now, and I've seen the growth the last year, especially. I've seen the growth. And congrats, man! It's really good thing, because you are putting a positivity out there for Xbox, and it's needed in a land of a bunch of negativity out there sometimes. Like when it's true. Like there's some channels that just thrive on drama and just the negativity out there, and it sucks. But unfortunately, that's what really drives the people to come and watch sometimes. There's a lot of people that love that, but there are a lot of people that do love just the positivity. They don't want to hear anything negative about their favorite brand. Even if it's true, they don't want to hear it, because I know.
Yeah, even if it's true. Yeah.
Some of these people, they get mad, they'll unsubscribe from me, and then they'll come back to me later when I say something positive about the brand again.
Yeah,
I'm like,
absolutely.
But they're like that. And I know there's certain people like that. For me, it's not that serious. I love this hobby. I love gaming, but it's not that serious, people. It's like, if I'm passionate about something and I say I don't like what this corporation's doing, or I don't like this or that, it's not because I hate the brand. It's because I just don't like what they're doing right there. And outside of that, it's not really all that serious to me. Like, when I say, oh, I'm not going to buy this game because it's $70 and blah, 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 it's not that I'm telling you not to do it. I'm just saying, for me personally, I just don't feel like it's worth it. It's not serious, but some people take that to heart, and they're like, how dare you speak on that game that way, or say it's not worth it. Values are subjective, blah, blah. I know this. I'm telling you my opinion.
Right.
It's weird. Thank you very much, Hargeet Chani. He's giving out a code here. Thank you for the $10 super chat, but the code for the AC Ezio collection. That's the Assassin's Creed Ezio collection right there. Pick it up, people. Pick it up. So, and Black Flag also there. Wow.
Nice.
He's giving out all the codes for Assassin's Creed today, and I appreciate that, man. That's awesome. Hargeet's one of the best in the community, man. He gives much to people, and I just
shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to Hargeet, dude. Amazing. Amazing guy. He's an Xbox guy too, but he plays all games.
Good
guy.
Just like me. I play. I enjoy the PlayStation. That's why I had to give me a PS5 because I
Except
love
for
God
Horizon
of War.
Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West, right? It's trash.
I don't care about that.
Yeah, it's
that
trash.
franchise. I mean, it's beautiful. I just can't really get into that franchise, man, for whatever reason.
Let's bash on it a bit. Horizon Zero Dawn. I liked the combat in that game. It was fun. It was very fun fighting those robots and stuff. I really enjoyed that. I never really liked the story all that much. People were like, "Oh, it's incredible," and I'm just like, meh. It's not very good to me. The main reason was, number one, I don't care for Aloy as a protagonist. I think she's one of the most boring protagonists ever made. And then people are like, but I bet you like Master Chief. Well, Master Chief runs around shooting shit, and I like that, you know? Like, he's a badass. Like, Aloy is not a badass, and she's just dull. Whenever she speaks, I'd rather have a man or a woman that doesn't talk so much in these video games than somebody who's so wordy like Aloy is and has a lot of nothing to say. She going from camp to camp in Horizon Forbidden West, just talking to all these people. I'm stuck in a dialogue wheel for at least 10, 15 minutes for each character. And then she's like, oh, talk to Billy over there. And I got to talk to him for 10, 15 minutes. And before you know it, it's an hour goes by and I haven't even done any type of action in the game. No, thank you. That's not what I want in a video game. That's just the way I see it. But yeah, if you love the game, that's fine. You can love Horizon games. But just for me, they're boring. And let's be honest, that's the reason why PlayStation bundled it with the PS5.
Absolutely.
They want those sales to get jacked up because it probably wasn't selling very well. Let's be real. Let's be real. Forbidden West is not a Game of the Year contender. It is not. Elden Ring's got that in the bag. In the bag.
Now, I'm excited for God of War Ragnarok. I'm excited for.
Me too. God of War was an amazing game. Again,
absolutely.
There's a guy who's doesn't say much, but when he does, it's impactful. It's good. That's a protagonist.
Leave my home. Leave my home. That was fire. Leave my home.
Yeah. Or when he says, "Boy," I love
there
that.
you go.
I love that, man.
It's dope, man.
Yeah, he's amazing. That actor
I agree.
did a great job. Looking forward to Ragnarok. I will be getting Ragnarok as well. I love PlayStation games, but Horizon is the one IP that I just think is just not for me.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Anyways, let's move on and talk about Eidos and Crystal Dynamics getting back their IP. So apparently games like Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Legacy of Kain series, they're getting these back. Are you big fans of any of these titles?
I'm a huge Tomb Raider fan. Not really into Deus Ex. But I'm a huge Tomb Raider fan. Yeah, I bought the last one they made a couple years ago. Couldn't get into it.
Yeah. Now, if they change some of the mechanics up, I can get into it. I could, but I really didn't like the gunplay, man. I just felt that it was a little off. Tomb Raider, I like Tomb Raider. I wasn't in love with Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the last game, but I beat it and I played it. It was okay, but I wasn't in love with it. I just didn't like the whole. There was areas of the game where you had to, wear that garb and stuff, and it just it was just
I remember that area.
for me.
It was that green. It was that green.
Yeah.
And
I just
I enjoy Shadow
classic, clothes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need all that. But anyways, but the story wasn't even that great to me. But I'm a bit, as you could probably tell, for me, it's story comes not first. It's gameplay, but story's way up there for me.
It's very important,
especially if they push a narrative in the game. It has to be good for me to really, really love, and that is where Legacy of Kain comes in. That series, the stories were amazing. Mm-hmm. Legacy of Kain probably is one of the best well-written stories ever in a video game. This is what I'm excited about. The reason why I wanted to bring this whole thing up about them getting their IP back, because of course the Embracer Group purchased the Western division of Square Enix, and now it's finalized. They are able to get these IP back to these respective developers. But it's the Legacy of Kain series that I'm most excited about, because there's two things. I don't know if you saw the 30th anniversary little logo that they had for Crystal Dynamics not too long ago, maybe about 2 months ago. And they had
I don't
outlines
remember.
of Gex, and then they had outlines of Tomb Raider, of Lara Croft, and of Raziel from Soul Reaver.
Right.
That coupled with the fact that they get these IP back makes me think that maybe, just maybe, they might do something with Legacy of Kain.
It's possible.
Like,
because when's the last time they made one?
Bro, it's been forever.
Was it the PS1 generation? Or?
Yeah, this was back in, dude, Soul Reaver was the last one, I believe.
Man, that was PS1, wasn't
it? Maybe there was another one after, but I heard it wasn't very good. Yeah. Anyways, I can't remember, but the ones that I'm thinking of, the first games were just amazing. Blood Omen, just a fantastic game. If they were to remake these games, now I've been on record as saying I don't like all these remakes happening, but games like this that are that old,
it makes sense then. It makes sense.
That is when it's really impactful to a game. When you bring that up to today's technology. You could have some amazing, an amazing game like Blood Omen. If you look at it now, it's so dated. But if you brought it up to today's standards and you had that, you keep all that dialogue intact, it would be amazing because those games are so good. And I know there's people out there like my good friend in the community, Ramon. He loves the Legacy of Kain series just like me, and we talk about it. And we're not trying to hold our breath for this stuff, but it's definitely something I'd like to see. And I know, chat, if you're a big fan of the Legacy of Kain series, you definitely would know that a remake for these games would be something that would be very appreciated.
And let me say something, Fonz.
Yeah, go ahead.
Before you finish, let me say it. I am a different type of gamer nowadays, meaning I played Soul Reaver. I really didn't get into it, right? I didn't play any of the other ones. But I'm a different type of gamer, meaning I play different types of games. I play more types of games. A remake will make so much sense for a game that, Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3. I played those games on the PS1. I did not finish either game back then. I was in my early 20s. I just didn't play games like that much. But I mentioned I'm a different type of gamer, and I bought those remakes and loved them and finished them. And for them, if they brought back Soul Reaver, that would be a huge thing for me because with today's technology, like you said, to keep the story the same, it will be great, man. Just like a game like Mafia, like the first Mafia. Remember they redid it a couple years ago? Yeah. Great remake.
I didn't play the remake. I played the original, but looking back here with the game I was thinking about that they made after Soul Reaver 2, because there was 2 Soul Reavers, was Defiance, and that one wasn't very good. Defiance wasn't very good. But the other games, you got Soul Reaver, Blood Omen, Soul Reaver 2, but remake those. Those were incredible. Just begging for those. All right, so before we get into our main topic here of the show, Jimmy Boy, I've got to play a sponsor. I've got a sponsored ad, so I got to play that for everybody now.
Can you turn that down, please? Oh, just a moment. Does that have to be so loud?
Do you sometimes disturb others when you watch TV? Are you tired of people saying, "My God, Charles, what the fuck happened to your hearing? Turn that shit down." Introducing Listen Up, the sound amplifier that lets you turn up the volume personally without affecting those around you. So if your hearing is not what it once used to be, turn the volume up with Listen Up. And for those of you that can hear just fine, Listen Up can be used in many other ways.
Have you met the new neighbors? I heard she's a real eavesdropping bitch. Girl, isn't that the same guy that was in the Wendy's drive-thru behind us? I didn't want to say anything, but he's been following us ever since we left home.
Boy, that took a dark turn, didn't it?
Oh man.
Man, but yeah, Listen Up. Get yours today. I think they sell them at Walgreens, people. that was a real device, I guess. And I just took that one day and made a parody commercial for it because I thought it was so
funny
silly.
stuff. That looks straight from the 90s. It looked like straight from the 90s.
Yeah.
Or was that the 80s?
Yeah, no, it
I
was
think it's
90s.
the
90s.
Yeah, I think
but
it's 90s,
but still, it was some weird
It was funny,
stuff.
funny stuff.
Anyways, moving on, we're going to talk about this whole situation with Jimbo. And basically, okay, so I don't have any of my freaking notes. But anyways, so PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan basically calls out Phil Spencer, okay, the Xbox CEO. Apparently, he claims that if this ABK deal goes through, he is not fond of Phil's Call of Duty offer. He says it wasn't good enough. Or, wait, the direct quote was that it wasn't adequate, right? So let's go ahead and look at that quote now. So here's the quote, people. And here it says, this is Jim speaking. He says, I hadn't intended to comment on what I understood to be a private business discussion, but I feel the need to set the record straight because Phil Spencer brought this into the public forum. So he says, Microsoft has only offered for Call of Duty to remain on PlayStation for 3 years after its current agreement between Activision and Sony ends. After almost 20 years of Call of Duty on PlayStation, their proposal was inadequate, he says, on so many levels and failed to take into account the impact it would have on our gamers. Oh, did he feel that way too when he felt that taking the entire Spider-Man IP away from Xbox gamers and Nintendo gamers that he didn't think about them at all, did he? No, he didn't.
No, of course not.
We want to guarantee PlayStation gamers continue to have the highest quality Call of Duty experience, and Microsoft proposal undermines this principle. He is mad. He is mad, Dirt. What are we doing here, man?
Oh my God.
What do you think about this?
How dare he? The audacity of this guy. You know, you said a line where their proposal was inadequate on many levels and failed to take account of the impact of our gamers. Fonz, isn't this a competition? Isn't business a competition?
Yes.
Yeah, you want to one up your biggest competitor, right? You want to be aggressive. And I got to be honest, man. PlayStation has been very aggressive in the past. And as an Xbox fan, sometimes I say, damn, they're kicking Xbox in the ass. But I never once said, it's not fair. It's not fair, PlayStation.
Yeah.
Don't do that. When Xbox came out there in 2013 and laid a turd with the Xbox One announcement, and PlayStation took advantage of it. They went on stage and said, this is how you share your games. You can play used games on PlayStation. I was like, oh my God, it's brutal. But that's business. Xbox messed up. PlayStation took advantage. I don't even have a problem with PlayStation blocking certain games going to Game Pass. But that's business. That's business. But at the same time,
a shady business, but it's business.
Yeah,
you're right.
But it's business, right? But at the same time, Xbox is being aggressive. They're spending their money. Guys said is Xbox going to compete? I remember last generation. Fonz, you were around last generation. I remember people saying, damn, when Xbox put up a fight, they just gave up. Are they going to compete? Now they're competing. It's not fair. Our gamers, that's not Xbox's job to worry about your gamers, about PlayStation gamers. Xbox is about to acquire the publisher of pretty much PlayStation most popular game. And it is what it is.
It's one of the most popular games, period. And I think Colt was telling me today that it was the 6th most grossing game for PlayStation ever. 6th.
Wow.
So it's really big. But here's the deal with this situation. Number one, it's hypocritical. It's so hypocritical of Jim to say. There's so much he holds from Microsoft. And look, he's even holding some of their own IP. All right? So some of these deals with Bethesda right now. People are like, when are we going to get, what's the name of that game? Deathloop. When are we going to get this?
Tokyo. Yeah, exactly.
I thought that was a year exclusivity deal. Nobody knows. They're very quiet on this. I know they can't say anything because, you know, they're under NDA and they're under contract or whatever, but it remains the truth. Look, you're right. You're 100% right. It's all about competition at the end of the day. Who cares? All right. I'm shocked. I was shocked when I read that Phil was ready to give 3 years after the current deal.
Mm-hmm.
After the current deal, because that puts it at like 2027.
Yeah.
So for me, I was sitting there going, wow, I did not think this was going to happen at all. I thought immediately, because I mean, look, history will always, you know, come up again. Like, you can look back at what these companies have done. Microsoft with Bethesda, you heard them say one thing, oh yeah, we're going to try to do this and this. We're going to, you know, and then what did they do? They said Starfield's exclusive when that deal went through. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen again. I thought, and it's not that Phil lied about it, because he didn't, but he chose his words right when he was talking about the deal.
He used the word desire to keep it on PlayStation.
Yes. He said certain things that you just, look, it's corporate speak, man. You got to read between the lines sometimes. And I just look at this, and I was shocked that he was willing to give 3 years. I thought that was kind of generous. I saw Jez make the post on Twitter, and I retweeted it because I was like, yeah, this is exactly how I feel. This is cutthroat competition. Nice guy Phil, he could be killer Phil too. And this is just one example of those things. It's just, at the end of the day, you have to entice your gamers over to whatever you want to sell them. And if you have COD, one of the biggest games ever, right into Game Pass, people will come. If they can still get it on a competing platform where all their friends are at, they may stay. They may stay. Thank you, Patrick, for becoming a member. It's crazy to me that anybody would think otherwise. Like, oh no, he'll keep it on the other, console because, all that revenue, he doesn't want to lose it. No, what he wants to do is take all those customers and bring them over, folks.
Absolutely.
Why would he want to keep them on that platform? Why? Yeah. What's the point? He wants them on Game Pass. Now, if they had Game Pass on that platform, I don't think he'd be taking it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
you're absolutely right, Fonz. Absolutely right.
It's crazy to me. It's just nuts.
I wholeheartedly agree with everything you just said, and it's simple to me, and I just feel that Phil Spencer knows that maybe we'll let them keep it for the remainder of this current generation because we want to, show good graces for the FTC. Let's get this deal approved. Keep COD on the PlayStation for the remainder of this current generation. But you guys better believe the next generation, if there's a PS6, the next Xbox, COD is going to be exclusive. And it's just, I just feel that that's how it is. That's business, man. People want the Xbox to be an aggressive monster, or that's what they're doing.
Yeah,
that's what they're doing now. And I see somebody in the chat said, well, PlayStation will be fine. Yeah, they'll be fine.
They'll be fine.
But at the end of the day, they're concerned.
It's going to hurt them. It's going to hurt their bottom line. And you know what I say to that? Fuck them. I don't care about their bottom line. Any of these corporations, I would say the same thing. I don't care about their bottom line. I care about my bottom line. I care about my wallet.
Exactly.
I could care less about these big corporations' wallets. Look, whether it stayed on PlayStation or went to, Xbox, or if PlayStation would have bought ABK, if they would have bought them, I guarantee you that they would have been exclusive to PlayStation.
No question.
No question at all. And people like to bring up this whole Destiny thing. Let me remind you folks that the Destiny deal was made for them to stay independent. And that is independent publishing, independent developers. Yes, they are part of the PlayStation team, but they remain independent. And they pushed that. It was Bungie that pushed that. That is where Sony overpaid for them. The fact that they bought a development team for all their expertise and stuff, and that is going to be amazing for them because they will help them create some amazing things. But as far as Bungie's IP, They overpaid because that's going to remain multiplat because they said they wanted it to, and they put it in a contract stating we shall remain independent.
Yep.
That's a different situation altogether. But yeah, they would have made it exclusive had they bought ABK, and nobody would have been crying like this. I don't even think Phil would have been out there saying anything like Jim did. And you know, on one hand, I understand why Jim is saying this stuff because it's his only play as an executive, as a competitor. This is the only thing he can do is complain about it at this point.
Right.
But why would you? Because it kind of looks weak. It looks weak. It does.
It looks weak.
Hargeet Chani, thank you very much for the $5 super chat. He says Phil's COD offer doesn't include gimping the Xbox Series X version of the game. Not adequate. Come on, Hargeet. I've got one here from Elk Dude. Thank you very much for the super chat here. He says, PlayStation still has top tier product. In my opinion, they shouldn't be worried. Buy first person dev, FPS dev, and make a competitor. Yep. Not even have to buy it. They've got a developer in house that went over to Horizon Zero Mess. They could go back to making their, COD killer. Killzone. It was their COD killer. Remember? Look, here's what you do. You give them, because one thing we could say about Killzone is that it looked amazing. It looked amazing.
Yeah. Beautiful, yeah.
It just mechanically, it wasn't as sound as Call of Duty, but you bring over guys from Bungie and you make a quality shooter. That's all you got to do. And that's not to say they're going to overtake COD, day one or even 5 years from now, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Nothing is impossible, but they can make a quality title, a quality FPS. They have the talent to do so. Do it. Do it.
Yep.
That's the way I
agree.
feel.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's just, like you mentioned, Spider-Man, we could talk about Final Fantasy. You mentioned Deathloop, Ghost by Tokyo.
Yeah.
There are so many different things that PlayStation has. Even last generation, Street Fighter 5, things like that. Now, some Xbox guys might have been crying like this, damn, Xbox, fight back. Why don't you guys get a superhero game? I remember people saying that, they have Spider-Man, Wolverine. Xbox, you guys need a superhero game. And that's a valid question. But I don't remember hearing Phil Spencer call to say, it's not fair, guys. It's not fair. Why you guys got Spider-Man? It's not fair because you guys have a character you own the rights to in movies, and now you have the video game. Now you got Wolverine. No, people are like, yo, man, Xbox, you guys need to step it up. So I just feel that what Jim Ryan, this crying that he's doing is, to me, now this is my opinion, for the first time since the beginning of the PS3 generation, it seems like Sony looks vulnerable. I don't know, maybe it's just me.
Yeah. No,
they're looking weak right now. Yeah, they're looking weak right now. Now, the PS4 generation, absolutely incredible, amazing titles. But what happened when you depend on third party for your multiplayer, it's coming back to bite them in the butt. Same thing with Xbox. When Xbox depended on second, third party deals, when the Xbox One generation started, they had some games that launched in the first 3 years, but guess what happened? There was never a sequel to Quantum Break, never a sequel to Rise, Son of Rome, or Sunset Overdrive, because they didn't have their own studios, and it bit them in the butt to where we're still waiting for these AAA games. Same thing with PS4. They depended on Call of Duty as their bread and butter multiplayer experience, and the casuals chose the PS4 as the box that they wanted last gen. So now here we are with the potential of COD being taken away. It's going to hurt them, man.
Yeah, many of us stated, before this generation started, that anything can happen when generations change in the console game. So does the leaders at times, and anything could happen. And I'm not saying that Xbox is going to overtake Sony and take the lead or anything, but it could happen. And this ABK deal could be the straw that breaks the camel's back here for Sony. I think look, at the end of the day, yes, it makes them look weak. And when we say it makes them look weak, we're not calling Sony weak in terms of, development teams and stuff, because they have some incredible teams. They could build an incredible first-person shooter. They choose not to. They choose to get these. That's the problem. You see, a lot of people say that, Microsoft's just relying on buying third-party publishers to get all their games and developers and stuff.
I just saw that.
But here's the problem. Sony's been relying on these third parties for years and years to get the games that people want to fucking play. Let's be honest. All right? So their exclusives, as great as they are, as great as I love them, as much as I love them, people don't just buy these consoles just for their exclusives. I'm sorry to tell you, the majority, it doesn't. I may buy them for their exclusives, but the majority of the gamers don't. They buy them for things like Call of Duty. So that is why they're worried, folks. That is why. And to say and to point fingers at Microsoft and say they were relying on this or relying on that. Well, Sony has heavily relied on third party for far too long, and they need to step it up in first party and make themselves a great shooter. They need to. This is why they're trying to play catch up now with making some service-based games, because they know that they need some of those. They know they need multiplayer games. This is just one more genre they know now they're going to need.
Yep.
So
absolutely, man. I wholeheartedly agree with everything you just said. It's just like, I just don't understand when Xbox is buying up stuff. Now that's the narrative. All they're doing is just buying up stuff. They don't have any talent. Come on, man. I don't know if you watch sports too much, Fonz, but I always say, if these guys really pay attention to things that's going on.
Hold up. I heard what you just said about that. They're buying up all this stuff. Did Sony create frickin' Spider-Man? No.
Thank you.
Let's just shut up about that, okay? Sony didn't create Spider-Man, okay? They've got developers that made a great game based on a character that was already there. So I can point fingers and say they just bought up an IP that, is tried and true, and it's beloved by many.
Right.
Sorry. It doesn't work that way. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It doesn't. No, I agree with you, man. It's just like they're finding some type of excuse to say when Xbox is being aggressive that they said they should be, because last generation Xbox got their ass whooped. Now they're being aggressive. All they're doing is just buying up studios. They really don't have any talent. If you're a Los Angeles Lakers fan, and a couple years ago when they won an NBA championship in the bubble, LeBron James signed there as a free agent, meaning the Lakers gave him some money to come play for them. Anthony Davis signed there as a free agent. They gave him money to come play for them. They weren't drafted by the Lakers. But guess what? I guarantee every Laker fan was excited when they won that championship. They didn't say, these guys wasn't organic. I don't count this championship. You didn't say that. So that's just stupid, man. These guys up here, they're just buying up stuff. Come on.
I realize, Ryan Landis, what's up, man? He's in the chat. He says, Xbox does not have a great dev management record yet. I beg to differ. Look at Playground. Look at the Coalition. No problems there for many, many years. Turn 10, same thing. The only problem area that is a real thing for them right now has and will remain, I believe, 343 Industries. And I think that I don't want to go into that. But anyways, to answer your question, that is where most of the problem lies with them. In regards to management and developers, I think 343 Industries is the mess there. Aside from that, most of their teams are just fine. They've got, we've heard some inner turmoil with the initiative and stuff. But let's be honest, they haven't even got off the ground yet. It's weird. They put together this supposed super team, and whatever went on between each other, I don't know. But hopefully they got things straightened out there. But the only game that we've seen come out and we know is, they've had issues is 343 Industries. Mm-hmm.
And nobody's saying that Xbox is perfect, Fonz. Nobody's saying that.
No.
Nobody's saying Xbox is perfect. So these guys want to bring that up. Come on.
Well,
Man.
I think the PlayStation has a better. I think they're better managed. Their development teams. I do agree with that. But we're mainly speaking on the fact that, people pointing fingers and saying that Microsoft is buying up publishers because they can't create their own things.
Yeah,
Sony did that with publishers with developers they bought as well. They bought Insomniac. They didn't create Insomniac. Insomniac was already a team in itself, and they were doing great things. They bought them, and they saw that. They bought them on the cheap too, by the way. Then they bought the rights to freaking Spider-Man in-game, and again, they bought this stuff up. This is not stuff that they freaking just made and cultivated. I'm sorry. It's insane. Yes, some of the stuff that they have created there in-house has been amazing over the years, but some of this stuff is just things that's already been out there. I mean, even God of War, what they did with God of War was great, but it was already an IP. It was already a franchise. I don't know. My head spins when people talk about that particular thing. Oh, they just buy up things because they can't create their own things. Well, they didn't create God of War. They didn't create Spider-Man. I'm sorry. Okay. They created Horizon Forbidden Mess, but yeah, it's garbage. Okay. In my opinion, it's trash. But yeah, anyways, I just feel like, guys, that I don't know, Greg. I think that, this whole thing, for Jim to come out and say these things, it just looks kind of weak because again, I think it's very, very, generous of Phil to offer 3 years extra on top of this deal. I really think that was a generous move. They don't have to do that.
They don't.
Think about that. Let it sink in, people. Till at least 2027, they would have Call of Duty on their platform. You're telling me that they couldn't build something from now until then with all the greatness that they have there in their studios? Come on. They could build something. And they've got old IP they can bring back. What about SOCOM?
SOCOM, yeah.
What about SOCOM? I mean, come on. I mean, it's just crazy.
I guess that's them spending their own money. Gamble.
I apologize, Gerald DeWitcher. He says, "Come on, Horizon Zero is not trash." Look, it's not trash to you. It's not trash to many other people. Yes, a lot of people do love the game, but for me, it's trash. When I say it's trash, I'm talking about myself, man. I don't like the game. Horizon Forbidden West, Zero Dawn. I liked it. I had fun with it. I thought the combat was great. The second one is just more of the same, and I got tired of the combat. I got tired of it. It's stale. They didn't bring that up to next generation. What, they added a grapple hook you can barely even use in the game? No thanks. It wasn't life changing. It wasn't mechanic changing. It wasn't amazing, But yeah, Ryan brings up Resistance as well. Yeah, that was another shooter they had. Resistance, Fall of Man. Love that game. That was a great one. Bring those back, man. This is what people want. Gamers want those type of games back. That is why Call of Duty sells so well on PlayStation.
Yeah.
I mean, it sells way more than it sells on their console than their exclusives.
Yeah, it does.
Because
absolutely
that's the majority of the gamers. They like that. Yeah. And that is why eventually Microsoft will make that exclusive to entice people to come over and play on Xbox. It's that simple. Or play on Game Pass, I should say. Because that's the end goal anyway, Game Pass. It's not really about Xbox, PC, TV. It's about Game Pass. They don't care where you play.
That's really what it's about. They don't.
Anyways, you got anything else to add to this topic, brother Greg?
No, yes, man. You said everything great. I mean, I just feel that at the end of the day, this just goes to show you how much COD means to the PlayStation brand. We've been talking about this topic over a month now. Like the whole month of August, we've been talking about Jim Ryan and, with the crime and their concern. I know there's sometimes a lot of these PlayStation guys, PlayStation's going to be fine. Yeah, PlayStation's going to be fine, but you guys need to pay attention to their concern. They're worried about this, man. And that's for a reason. And
I would say this,
go ahead.
Greg. It's nice. I feel like it's good to shake things up. This is an industry, shaker.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have you have PlayStation that has been on top for an entire generation. Going into this one, they're still on top, and they're looking at great. And then you have ABK getting bought up. It really stirs the industry up because now it's forcing Sony to do even more for their customers.
Yep.
So in my opinion, I'm excited because I get to see them do something else, make something else. Or at least that's what I'm feeling like, that they are going to make an FPS, and they are going to go, different routes than just making the same over the shoulder third person action adventure or whatever. We're actually going to get them doing many other things, and that's great.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to steer completely away from those action adventure games, because I love those. I love those. Those cinematic action adventure games are my jam. But I do want to see them expand and do other things. And just the same way as I look at Xbox and I go, hey, where's your action adventure game like Uncharted?
Absolutely.
I want to see Xbox do the same damn thing. I've been calling for that forever. And no, Gerald, if Horizon was on Xbox, I would not praise it. Okay. I don't like the game. I don't like the game. It doesn't matter where it's at. I'm not one of these people that, because it's on Xbox, it's great. Or because it's in Game Pass, it's great. No, I'm not one of those people at all. So you got the wrong guy for that. Thank you for becoming a member, by the way. I missed the name, but thank you. Appreciate you. Ryan says, Fonz, I'm a fan of Sony's games, but I like the nervous Sony. I like a nervous Sony, he says. They'll take chances on first party now. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they have 10 live service games in development. They're trying to do something a little different because, like you said, I just feel that even though the PS4 generation was amazing, they had great first party single player games. I think Sony realizes now, I think they realized it at the end of the PS4 generation, we have to invest in some type of game where we're getting revenue after the game releases, right? Because for there's 120 million PS4s and their biggest game. Jim Ryan said this. This isn't just me saying this, right? Some ex-bot that's on Fonz show being a bot. Exactly. Jim Ryan said 10 to 20 million of their biggest games sold isn't enough anymore. No. It's just not enough, and they need different types of games. And they've bought studios that's working on live service games, and hopefully some of those games hit. All they need is like one of them to really hit.
I don't think they really believe in the services like Game Pass or even their own premium service. I don't think they believe in it enough. I think right now it's one of those things is they're doing it because they're forced to. Yeah. Because the industry is kind of heading this way. And some people will argue and say, no, it's not. No, it's not. Dude, look, EA Play on PC does really well. Ubisoft Plus on PC, really well. Game Pass, really well. I don't know what to tell you if you don't really believe in these services. Right. Sony themselves, I think, are just doing it right now because they have to. But best believe all those games that they're making that are going to be service-based, I think they're going to implement those into their premium service day one because they're going to have a lot of microtransactions in there. Right. I think factions will go in there as well. I think that'll be a big thing for there. Yeah, I think what they'll do is because it's Sony, they're greedy, okay? They're going to charge for factions. They'll say, okay, you can buy it for $50 or play it in our premium service for just, $20 a month or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be putting these games in there and trying to sell a boatload of microtransactions. But as far as like day and date and stuff, I think if they were to even announce that tomorrow, if they said, look, God of War, Horizon, whatever the next game is for them, Spider-Man 2, those are going to be day and date. I'm willing to bet that so many of their consumers, I myself would do it, would jump into that premium service. Mm-hmm. I would buy into it. Yeah. Immediately. And I don't think that they really believe that would happen, but I think it would. I think that, look, and I know Xbox guys are going to hate me for saying this, but I think they would surpass Game Pass numbers if they announced that. Mm-hmm. I think they would surpass them. I think that they would jump in right away. They would jump in right away because a lot of people would say, yeah, I want to play all those games day and date. You know, if it was just like Game Pass, it would be a real competitor, competitor. So I just don't think they believe in it right now. I think they're just doing it because they have to. But the day and date thing, we'll see what happens with that. I think eventually they will fold. I think they'll do it. But by then, I think Microsoft will be so ahead of the game, which is stupid, right? Because you think they'd want to do something like that now to try to entice people over there right away. Because I think Game Pass will be just too far to catch up with in another couple of years, even.
Right.
Especially with this ABK deal going through. You're going to have all these Activision games in there. You're going to have Blizzard games in there. You're going to have freaking all the Bethesda games. Game Pass is just going to be an amazing
by that time,
thing.
Their first party should be rolling with consistent games on a consistent basis by that time also.
Should be.
Yeah.
We're saying they should be. They should be.
Should be by that time, yeah.
All right. Well, it's been a very good show with you today. Even though I didn't have any of my show notes and stuff, I knew we can handle this today and get through it. Folks, I know there's some stuff I probably forgot to say because my bullet points are gone and my mind is slipping in my old age. But speaking of old age, it's about time for me to take my nap now. So, so we're going to get out of here. Griggity, tell everybody where they could find you and and all that good stuff.
Check out my YouTube channel, Dirt Griggity. Like Fonz said earlier in the show, I do dabble in console war stuff, but I make it fun. It's all about funny. It's not venomous, how some channels are venomous.
It's satire.
Yeah, it's fun, man. I crack jokes. We have fun on my podcast on Monday evenings, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. We Bleed Green, Xbox podcast. We're gonna have a great show tomorrow. This topic is still kind of hot, so we're really gonna have fun with this topic.
Yeah.
And on Twitter, just find me at Griggity. So that's about it, guys. Thanks for having me, Fonz. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, no problem. I wanted to have you on. Thank you for coming. And thank you guys in the chat. I had close to 300 people here live watching today, which is amazing for me. I usually don't get that many. So I appreciate you guys so much.
One of us.
And thank you, Topaz Girl 170 for subscribing. Appreciate that a lot. Thank you. You are now one of us. Yeah.
You are now one of us.
Yeah, that's what it says. Anyways, thank you for coming. And until next time, guys, game on.